Building on the existing Stellar network means that from day one of launch, your smart contracts can hold and use USDC, right, and many other assets that are already on the network. They also have access to Stellar's cash on and off ramp via our partnership with MoneyGram, which works in over 200 countries worldwide, right? So putting this together, we could think of someone, let's say Julia, right? She doesn't have a bank account. She can go to her local MoneyGram location, deposit cash into the kiosk. She receives USDC on the Stellar network in her wallet. And now with Soroban, she can take that USDC and deposit it into, a lot of things, right? Whatever you're building. But let's say an income generating DeFi protocol where she receives a portion of transaction fees for providing liquidity, right? The partnership between Stellar's Anchor Network and MoneyGram allows users like Julia to move cash straight from their physical real wallet to a DeFi protocol and vice versa, which is something that I don't think has ever been seen on any other blockchain network so far. Yeah. And the third point here, I want to talk about what makes Soroban super special is the scaling optimizations that we're doing. So when designing Soroban, we've been able to learn from the state of the art and handpick the best solutions from each one. So we've designed the transaction execution model to scale across multiple cores. We've calibrated the fee model to maximize throughput and minimize cost while protecting the existing Stellar network traffic. So we've designed a lot of optimizations around the contracts themselves as well that you don't see on every other chain. So for example, if you look at Near, not to pick on them, I love Near, but they do this. In the Near contracts, you need to do your own serialization and deserialization of arguments when you get stuff in and out. That means you need to compile that into your contract and deploy it as well, right? So you need to include that library. In Soroban, we've pushed as much as we can out to the host environment where we can say batteries included, right? Which lets us massively reduce the contract size. And you don't need to pay to deploy that code, or your users don't need to pay to run it, right? We can take that a little bit further with built-in contracts. So we have an idea in Soroban of built-in contracts, similar to like precompiles you might know of on other network. So currently this is just for the standard asset contract. And it means that it runs ultra fast and cheap, right? And it lets contracts standardize on the interface within the ecosystem. And that's the standard asset contract that we have in Soroban is how Stellar assets are exposed in Soroban. They look just like any other contract to your contract. So it's really easy to integrate with existing Stellar assets. The last thing here that's really cool, we're actually working on solving state bloat with our state expiration model. So on other chains, you store some data on chain and it's there forever, right? Well, forever, right, in air quotes. We have a rent-based system with evictions and restorations to ensure the chain's working data set stays as lean as possible. So once your rent expires, your data gets evicted and you can pay to have it restored back on chain if you need it.
Shout out to Tim Shea, right? Talking about Lobster Wallet. Tim knows about Stellar's utility and so on. So Crypto Disciple, I might have to give him a follow. Let's see how he's doing. 1,662. That's cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this. And like it says, everything comes into Stellar, nothing leaves it. I think we also have a little bit of Soroban for you guys. We've been talking about that a lot. If we don't, then I am going to probably tomorrow, not just talk about, what's going on with the Fed, but also talk about what's going on with Soroban, because we should, find out what the heck is going on lately, because I did see some updates. So yes, let's let that speak for itself. Smash that like. This is I think our first video segment we've had of the night, which is cool. And thank you to Mike Cornwell, aka Elon Musk, for his sideline reporting. There we go.
Could be so common because we're only one of less than 1% of the whole world that's already in Stellar. So what they had to do is they had to create a system to on-ramp everybody else in the world who is not in Stellar in this very easy, methodical, programmatic way. And so what they're doing is they're creating these anchors that are actually able to create accounts for other people. And this protocol will tie into SEP 7, 16, 30, and 31, which we'll describe shortly. And so that's really important to know, because that means that a lot of our friends and our family who don't believe in Stellar right now will not have to go through the same hurdles, the same obstacles that you and I have faced as the beta testers of the ecosystem. Also, on top of that, part of the protocol talks about how some of these wallets that are bringing the assets over into Stellar can only have an exchange happen once for their currency. So once the exchange is made, that wallet is now, or that anchor rather, is now obsolete, and they cannot keep exchanging back and forth. So again, guys, that's another proof right there that everything comes into Stellar and it does not go out of Stellar. And then also this last point right here talks about how for a lot of these, not only can we only have one swap exchange, but it also programmatically says that you cannot withdraw those tokens either. So again, guys, more evidence that you can't take it off. But this one also ties interestingly into KYC AML. So I was able to confirm with Ben from Solar Russia team that if people do not pass their KYC, they actually get blacklisted. Their wallets will be blacklisted and it'll fall under criminal activity. And so that'll actually prevent them from withdrawing or even transferring assets to other wallets. So that's also very interesting to know. So Sinjin, do you want to add anything to this one?
Yeah, it also ties into SEP 24.
Yes.
It also, but one of the biggest things is that, I mean, all that is huge, but this is going to be seamless to the end user.
All right, we have a little bit more. So here's a cool thing, all right? So Mike Cornwell is presenting that. I want you to let that, stick into your head about what they talk about, the protocol, okay? Another thing was also mentioned was everything comes into Stellar. Nothing leaves it. It's like, what is Stellar going to be, basically? Like, the haunted house of crypto or something? Or you get in, nobody can escape. It's like an escape room or something. No, not quite, but that makes you wonder. It's like, if nothing leaves it, what kind of value does that going to create for Stellar, and especially for you and everybody else that holds Stellar? All right, there's more about this in regards to the protocol from an official statement from Stellar. Let's jump right into that particular piece. And it was reported, here it is. And yes, plain as day, prepare for Stellar's Protocol 20 upgrade. It's the biggest one yet. Introducing what? Yeah, Soroban'S smart contracts. Did we not state that at some point you're going to see a lot of news about Soroban? And I think now slowly more people are starting to finally talk about it. My God, it took them long enough, right? So things to know. Testnet upgrade on September 20th. Why September 20th? Is it because we're really going to get a true Fed pause? They know that some big things are going to be mentioned, or they're trying to time it perfectly with electronics, trades, documents, act going into effect. Maybe a combination of both, right? I mean, timing is everything. Update Stellar related software, right? Stay updated in the Protocol 20 Discord channel if you choose to do so. You can find out more info in regards to that. Sammy, supporter of I think the channel, maybe the show. I don't know if he knows about the new channel, but I did see he was a supporter in the past. He did retweet our stuff and so on. Yeah, he's like, let's go, referencing Drake and so on. But I do feel as though it's a big deal. Yeah, Brood basically re-tagged me. He might be watching the show right now. Shout out to Brood. But it's all worth pointing out, right? Absolutely worth pointing out. Now, there's a little bit more in regards to Stellar. There is, okay? So I'm going to get further down into this, all right? Here we go. I'll pull this up and retweet this as well. Back to Soroban. Soroban is coming to a testnet, like it says, near you. Excuse me. It's time to update your software development kits and infrastructure ASAP. Of course, there's a guide. Now, of course, this is from Tomer Weller. He does all those, little videos and so on, right? But again, like it says, 7 hours ago, smart contracts are coming to Stellar testnet this week. So in my opinion, with all of the hype about like, what is this big reveal from Stellar? And it ended up being like Meridian and so on. And, nothing wrong with that. And, highlighting, that they got this thing going on with Idris Elba. That's awesome. Okay, don't get me wrong, right? But what's even more awesome is utility in motion. Okay, so this goes live, and the way I look at it is, it's not full implementation of like all this stuff that creating a brand new ecosystem. The ecosystem goes live, but that creates value, and value does create more of that supply and demand. Of course, we had to wait for Soroban to, have like key projects of that ecosystem flourish and so on. But I think that this is the true big announcement. And again, notice how that flew under the radar, because people are not interested. Well, you guys are, right? But for people who are just like, I just want to see when Moon. Well, again, it's just Apple partnership, this partnership, that. Again, I'm more interested in utility in motion, and especially when I see a shock, right? You better believe there's going to be a big shock of this, coming into fruition. Like it says, next week, Stellar's testnet this week, smart contracts and so on. So, Soroban talked about testnet in the past, and then going to mainnet. When is the mainnet? So I know it says testnet right there, but anyway, let me know what you guys think in regards to that. I think there was another big announcement. Hold on a second. Yeah, I talked about the whole thing about finally happening. We talked about that. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is good. This was also posted yesterday. All right, trying to catch you guys up. Good news, extending the Soroban-a-thon road to mainnet virtual hackathon to October 11th. So that's interesting. Okay, I mean, all of this, in regards to what's going on with this. So again, I've stated that I feel as though that Soroban could finally go live as in the mainnet by the end of the year. And again, you're now starting to see some of these things basically being posted. We're going to take you over to the dev post real quick. And here's this guy. We are familiar with him. Give me a second to see if I can load this up for a second. But yeah, I mean, who here is basically following the whole thing with Soroban? That's the bottom line. All right, so this one is roughly two and a half minutes, or almost 3 minutes, I should say. And I want to share this with you guys. Please smash that like for some Stellar. I know we talked about XDC earlier. We'll get to that point in a bit. But yeah, this is good stuff. So road to mainnet announcement. And like it says, Soroban-a-thon road to mainnet is a virtual hackathon designed for blockchain adventures, a realm where intrepid developers let their curiosity and courage converge to build dApps on Soroban. Now, yesterday, I believe, right? Because today is Tuesday. I mean, you got to keep in mind I had a migraine earlier, so I'm having a hard time remembering what day it is. But yesterday, we gave you that weekend report of what's going on in the market. Things could turn bullish here soon, depending on, the announcements of tomorrow, right? That's a given. But it's like everything about this concept of dApps, I've stated earlier a few months back, I point out some things from that premium service I have, Investor Place. Charlie Schramm, Luke Lango point out, especially Charlie Schramm, right, who's part of the Bitcoin Foundation, right, been invested into it since $5. He pointed out that watch out for the end of 2023. That's what stands out for dApps. There's still money to be made in 2023, but it's literally towards the end of the year. Obviously, our big highlights are for 2024, especially 2025. I would agree with him, and again, back to this. Why is that? dApps, right? So now you have Soroban, or I should say Stellar, with Soroban, that key to smart contracts, right? Premier smart contracts, an ecosystem. I mean, 70 projects going live. What about the whole key thing of you just need not even like a half a dozen, if that, premier ones, quality ones to do something big in regards to dApps and so on. Could be an absolute game changer. That would be what? Utility in motion. Before I play this, I want to share just a couple more things. Soroban, like we shared before, if you're new to all this, smart contract platform written in Rust end-to-end is a sensible but built to scale. right? We always talk about scalability. I have that same user experience as you and everybody else, right? It says batteries included, right? Developer friendly. Again, you got to have something that can track devs. Soroban definitely does that. Designed to seamlessly integrate with the Stellar network, Soroban's benefits from the network's global financial rails and asset issuance, soon to be live on testnet. Soroban's highly anticipated mainnet launch is their doorstep, making now a thrilling time to be part of the ecosystem. Right, and devs have recognized that. You've even seen cases, if you've been watching some of this, where they do those webinars and so on for the Stellar Development Foundation. You have this particular guy who came from Ethereum. Why is that? He was, literally shared, hey, it's costing me too much money to build on Ethereum. So they jump ship. They go with what? The newest innovative technologies, or in this case, developer tool ecosystem through Soroban, right? Key smart contract for Stellar. So let's go ahead and play this. There's only 3 minutes. And yeah, please smash that like. Again, thank you for being here. Here we go.
Soroban Road to Mainnet. What is it all about? So Soroban is a brand new batteries included smart contracts platform that is built for longevity and ready to scale. It's designed to work the Stellar network, so it connects to worldwide on and off ramps to allow something that's pretty unique, cash to DeFi. If you're a developer, you can use it to build novel smart contract enabled protocols and products, no matter where you live. And those protocols and products, they can reach users no matter where they live. So it's a beautiful smart contracts platform, ripe for innovation, plus access to all kinds of markets. There's an amazing amount of possibility. Now, what is especially amazing about Soroban is that it has been and continues to be developed entirely in the open. There have been 10 public preview releases, and throughout them all, developers of all kinds have been encouraged to play with the code and participate in its evolution, to tinker and build, lend its shape. Now, because Soroban has been built in the open, and because ecosystem devs have been hacking away throughout all 10 of those preview releases, something really remarkable has happened. A viable ecosystem of smart contracts projects has come together alongside the platform itself. At this moment, there are over 70 projects building on Soroban that I personally know about. There are likely many more that I don't even know about. Now, many of these projects, they create fundamental building blocks that stack together to allow for the creation of end-to-end use cases. And a lot of them are going to be ready around mainnet launch. Projects include oracles, indexers, block explorers, and data analytics tools. They include developer tools like IDEs and SDKs and RPC services. That is a mouthful. They include DeFi primitives like AMMs and lending and borrowing protocols. They include wallets that range from general purpose transaction signers to bespoke interfaces. Now, for each of those categories, there are actually multiple projects building on Soroban, which means that the fundamentals for a robust ecosystem are in place, often in duplicate or triplicate or quadruplicate. So if you're a developer, you don't need to wait for building blocks to get started. They're here, now, ready for you. Yes, you. This is where you come in. So at this point, Soroban is feature complete, which means you can build right now, today, and be ready for mainnet launch later this year. And at this point, many of the fundamental building blocks are in place, which means there's a ton of raw material for you to work with. And this is your chance. Soroban Road to Mainnet, a month-long hackathon that will give you some structure to innovate, to learn, and to build on Soroban. So this is your chance to connect, to code, and to come. Let me tell you, those who innovate during this hackathon, they won't just shape the future. They'll be remembered as pioneers. So are you in? Are you ready to dive into Soroban and make a lasting mark on the world? If so, head to soroban.stellar.org and sign up for Soroban Road to Mainnet.
Wow, that was really impressive. Glad to hear it, right? I don't know about you, but I want to invest into the pioneers of anything, especially something solid like Stellar. Absolutely. All right. I think there might be a tad bit more in regards to this. I'm going to double check real quick. Let me refresh this real quick. Yeah, it's pretty much everything he just talked about. I mean, some of the key takeaways, was he was talking about oracles, right? Exchange, AMMs, other DeFi protocols. But, they have, of course, requirements upon their submission, but they even have prizes, right? There's maybe $21,000 in prizes paid in, of course, I guess Stellar in the form of XLM is what it states. I guess I'll go ahead and share the screen. It's kind of cool. I mean, it gives incentives for the developers, right? So yeah, 21,000 prizes. First place basically gets $10,000 in cash paid in XLM. Second place, 5,000 in cash paid in, of course, in Stellar XLM. Third place, 3,000. Best beginner, Soroban Tinkerer. So again, it's pretty cool. And then you have judges. I mean, come on, man. They don't just reward anybody, right? And they have judging criteria. So I mean, again, everything when it comes to Stellar is all about, I guess you could say, like quality or quantity. So they don't just let a bunch of garbage on their, to join their ecosystem. You want to see that, right? It instills confidence. All right. Super cool to share that. About time we got some Stellar Soroban update and so on, and glad to bring that to you guys.